What's going on, everybody? Khalipa's Tech here, coming back at you with another video. This is Stylus tips and tricks for the Motorola Moto G Stylus 2022. In this video, I'm going to be giving you some tips and tricks for this phone to help you get comfortable with the stylus. Now, before we go any further, I do want to remind you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It helps out the channel a lot. And for your convenience, I will be linking to this phone in the video description, so be sure to check out that link for the latest info on pricing and availability, because this is always changing. And of course, if you want to learn more about this phone, be sure to check out my full review and other tips and tricks videos for it as well. But with all that being said, let's get started. So the first thing I want to show you is how you can customize your stylus menu. Now, in case you haven't noticed already, when you take the stylus out of the phone, provided it's actually unlocked, you're going to get this little menu right here. So this is pretty cool. It gives you quick, convenient access to certain features. Like, for example, by default, we got the coloring book right here, the notepad, a GIF maker, photo editor, and a screenshot tool. But while these features are pretty cool, you can customize it even more so you can quickly access features you use often. So this is actually really simple. All you need to do is press this gear button right here, and as you can see, you got a lot to choose from. These are the default shortcuts right here, as you can see, and you can only have 6 of them, by the way. So if you want to add more than the default, you're going to have to remove some. So for example, we're going to take this off, and instead, let's add a game, calculator, and say the calendar. Now, this is just a quick example. I don't know why you would want to use these specific apps with the stylus. Maybe you would, maybe you wouldn't. But the point is, you can add pretty much anything you want. So now, if we open the stylus menu back up, you're going to see that the new apps we added are there now. The next thing I'm going to show you is the Stylus Notepad. Now, this is actually kind of interesting. There are several different notepads you can use with this phone that are specifically designed to be used with the stylus. So let me show you all of them. So the first 2 by default are actually in that stylus menu that we were just talking about. So we're going to take the stylus out one more time. Now, the first one is really just a basic notepad. This is basically like a regular notes app. You can take normal notes that you type by pressing right here. And you can also draw things by hitting this icon right here. You can also make checklists, voice notes, and even pictures as well. Now, the other notes app that shows up in the stylus menu is specifically for drawing. This is basically a blank drawing pad where you can just write things, whatever you want. And you got some tools down here as well. Now, if you're expecting this to be high quality and responsive enough for you to do any actual drawing, you're probably going to be disappointed, because this stylus, while being useful in its own right, is definitely not nearly sensitive enough to be used like actual paper or something like that. Now, I will say it is actually a lot more responsive than I expected at first, but the point still remains. If you want to do any real type of drawing or anything like that, this is not going to be the device for that. But all the same, if you want to take a quick handwritten note and you just don't feel like typing, then this little drawing pad is definitely a cool thing to have. The next thing I'm going to show you is a couple ways to keep track of your stylus. Now, the stylus is a really cool feature, and with this phone, it's super easy to access. All you need to do is pop it out and it'll come right out. But that does have its drawbacks, because you can easily accidentally take it out and you might drop it or something like that. But luckily, this phone does have some features to help prevent that from happening. So to get to these features, we're going to go to Settings. From here, go to Stylus. And we got a few options here. So the first one I want to go over is the removal reminder, which is on by default. Now, what this is going to do is give you a notification basically reminding you the stylus is out once it's been out for a little while without being used. So if, for example, you take out the stylus and put it on a table next to you and forget about it, then eventually you're going to get a notification. Now, I'm not 100% sure how long it actually takes to get this notification, but just know that when you have removal reminder on, it will eventually give you a notification just to help prevent you from misplacing the stylus. Now, the other thing you can do is have it record the last removal. This is a pretty cool feature, and as you can see, it's actually not on by default. But once you turn it on, it's going to record not only the time, but also your location every time you remove your stylus. So this way, if you drop it somewhere and forget about it, or maybe you just misplace it, maybe you set it down and then forget to pick it up, no matter what the situation is, having your last removal recorded is going to help give you an idea of where it could be if you ever lose it. Another cool feature that is actually on by default is when you put your stylus back into the phone, it's going to vibrate. The reason this can be useful is because with the feature on, having the phone vibrate when you put the stylus fully back in is going to help you by letting you know that you actually put it in all the way. That way you won't accidentally put it in halfway like this or something and forget about it and have it fall out. And really at the end of the day, it's just another cool feature that helps prevent you from losing the stylus. The next feature I'm going to show you is the screenshot editor. Now we went over this a little in the beginning when I was showing you the stylus menu, but basically the screenshot editor is just another way to take a screenshot, but this time it's just directly from your stylus menu. So to get to it, we're going to take the stylus out. And in case you went and customized the stylus menu, it's this little icon right here. So if you removed it and want to use it, you're going to have to put it back by hitting the settings button again and finding it in the list right here. So it's going to be in this spot usually. But anyway, provided that you actually have the screenshot editor in your stylus menu, all you need to do to take a screenshot is simply hit this button right here. It's going to give you this little bar, just like when you normally take a screenshot. And now you can go through and edit a screenshot just like you normally would. Now, honestly, this isn't really a game changer or anything like that, because if you take a screenshot any other way, like this, for example, and then go to the screenshot editor, you can just take the stylus out and do it the same way anyway. So it's really just up to personal preference. If you'd rather do any other method of taking a screenshot, or just hitting this button right here, it's really up to you, but essentially, that's another way to take a screenshot if you ever want to use it. The next thing I'm going to show you is the coloring book. Now this feature isn't exactly useful in a utility kind of way. I guess it can be kind of entertaining, but I'm going to demonstrate it just so you can get a good idea of what you can actually do with the stylus as far as art goes. And I will warn you, it's really not a whole lot. So from the stylus menu, I'm going to go back to the settings because remember in the beginning, I did take that feature off. I'm going to take off everything I added before and add back all the defaults. So now back in the stylus menu, the coloring book, of course, is right here. So this is the coloring book. I'm just going to open something up real quick, and we're currently on the pen tool. But essentially, this is what it's like when you're actually trying to color with this. As you can see, you need a lot of patience to actually be able to use the pen to color. And if you seriously want to do anything with it, you're probably going to be a little disappointed. I mean, I guess this is a fun tool for kids to play with, but really, like I said, this stylus isn't really useful in that way. So definitely don't expect it to be something like the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra, because the stylus you can get for that phone is a lot more high-tech than this. And with a phone like that, you can actually do some graphic design stuff, whereas with this, you kind of have to rely on the fill tool, and even that doesn't always work every time. So as you can see, it kind of worked there. In my opinion, it's a little gimmicky because if you want to do anything with it, I honestly don't even know if it would keep a kid entertained. But if you ever want to doodle or something like this, then I guess this is there to use. But those were my tips and tricks for using the stylus with the Motorola Moto G Stylus 2022. In general, despite being the feature this phone is named after, I honestly don't think the stylus is the best feature of the phone. I mean, it makes navigating a little bit more convenient, I guess, in some situations, but this is not going to help you type faster or anything like that. And if you want to handwrite notes, I guess it is okay. But again, if you're expecting the performance of a stylus meant for something like the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra, again, you are going to be disappointed here because this stylus is definitely not meant for that. And while I wouldn't exactly call the stylus in and of itself a gimmick, again, I definitely think there are other features on this phone that are a lot more useful. But if you do really like to use a stylus from time to time, maybe you like to make little handwritten notes here and there and stuff like that, or maybe you're playing a game like maybe Fruit Ninja or something like that where you want a little bit more precision, then the stylus might be a little bit more useful. Now once again, if you want to learn more about this phone and its overall features, be sure to check out my full review and other tips and tricks videos for it on the channel. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you found these tips and tricks useful as well. If you did, don't forget to leave a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. And once again, for the latest info on pricing and availability, be sure to check out the link in the video description because this is always changing. But that's it for this video. As always, I will see you in the next one.